I have, you know what? I do have one.
Yeah.
So last week you told us, you showed us how to use the grabby handles if you were doing an additional embed or additional text. So, and I thought I understood it, but
yeah, let's go over that.
I'm not quite sure about that still.
Okay. So it can be done from any page. I think last time we were working in the home page, but just to give another example, I'll work from a regular page. So under the body section, you're always going to have the additional section body with embed code.
Mm-hmm.
So down here, once we have, I don't know if it shows up when we add just one, but you'll always, okay, yeah, it does. You'll always see this icon on every paragraph box. Let me zoom in some. So this one here. And that, when you hover your mouse over, should turn your mouse into that four-pronged pointer, and it will, oh, it's down below, sorry. It will become helpful once you add more of these. Just because then you'll have the chance to reorder them.
Okay, so so that's reordering just, so if you had 3 embed codes, you could rearrange the embed codes.
Yes.
But okay, so go back up into your body there. So let's say that I wanted to put the embed code, I wanted to put my little video right there above where it says program planning. So I want it right in the middle of that. How can you do that? So
I would first suggest putting a word there that you're going to kind of use as a placeholder, because getting into the HTML afterwards, you'll have to be scanning really closely to find the right spot. And so using a placeholder word is easier.
All right, so I remember that from last time. Okay.
So I'm going to just use Dino.
Okay.
And I can disable the rich text. Well, actually, since you're going to be embedding a video, we'll use the full HTML method. So swap that to full HTML. You'll probably see your word, or if not, you search for it with your keyboard, Control F for Windows, and then embed code here. And you could leave the other, HTML tags that are surrounding your placeholder word, since that's just the formatting of where you placed your cursor. That's going to be exactly where the video will show up.
Okay. All right. Well, that seems simple enough. All right.
And then you would just save it like this. And you probably already know how to generate your embed code. So
yes,
that's all you need there.
All right. Thank you.
And then I see Barbara's question. On our board of directors page, we have one that says type member spotlight, and the other 3 do not, and I cannot figure out how to change it. Okay.
Hudson.
Should I head to your page?
Sure.
It'd be easier to do that way. Whoops.
I've tried remaking the pages and trying to figure out what the difference in script is, and I just can't figure it out. It doesn't really matter, but it just bugs me.
Oh, yeah, we definitely want to see what's going on.
Okay, so under leadership, go to where the halfway down about for leadership.
Okay.
Okay, so we have our 4 elected officials, and under Tracy, it says type, membership, spotlight.
Okay, I'm going to open them in new tabs here. And then we'll open Connie's in this one. Okay. So
how did I get rid of that member spotlight type?
It is a difference of these being an article.
Okay.
The ones that say the type, And then this one, Tracy's, is just a regular page. So just articles ask you a type of, you know, do you want to categorize it as news, a blog post, member spotlight? There's different options within those types. So if you wanted, should I mark masquerade as you? The easiest way to get these other pages to look like Tracy's would just be to copy over the content and create a
Take
page.
hers off and make them look like everybody else.
Yeah, so if we wanted to start with Mimi's to make it look, oh, are you saying to have Tracy's look like the others?
Right.
Okay, then the same thing, just the other direction. So you would
Right.
copy the content and then head to either your homepage or any of your other built-in pages like the calendar and positions page, just so you can get here and add
Okay.
article.
Add article, okay.
And I won't save it, but I'll just go through the steps here. So once you get there, the most important thing is to set it to member spotlight.
Okay.
And what that also does, it's optional here under additional details. If the member has a user account, then if you list them here, like if I, how do I bring myself up? Yeah, it would bring up the person's, I think, profile picture.
Okay.
And so depending on if they have added that to their user profile in Milo, then that will come up. Otherwise, it might just have their name, but that's optional there. You can just leave it how we see it here. It just will say the type at least.
Okay, so to take that off, would I just not do member spotlight? Unclick that.
If you didn't want to have a member being featured,
Right.
yeah, you just remove their username. But are you referring to the type here?
Let's go back to Tracy. If you would, please.
Yes.
Okay. And she's under leadership.
So we're here at Tracy's page.
Okay, so publish, see what it looks like, not when it's on the page itself.
I'm not sure what you're meaning.
What would it look like if I looked at it, not on just any person look at that page? What would it look like?
Oh, I'm logged in, that's why. But it's good. This is the same. We're just seeing the tabs up top.
Okay, so if you go to the other three, it doesn't say member spotlight. We don't really, they're not a member spotlight. This is the officers.
Right. And so
not-
that's why I was trying to recommend that these articles, you should copy them and create pages and then paste this content in there.
Okay, thank you. I will try that.
Okay. Yeah, the page doesn't ask you for a type and it won't display anything like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
You're suggesting a page for each person?
Right. Yeah. So that instead of an article for each of the other three, it would be a page. Because the main difference is that the articles, well, not the only difference, but visually when we are looking at the page here, the type is displayed, and with a page, you're not asked that information.
Well, the reason I ask is, I mean, couldn't you just have one page with the 4 people?
You could do that as well. And then using anchor links, you drop, you
I
know,
don't know how to do
folks.
that.
We can play around with that.
Well, no, I'm just trying to think. I mean, you know,
Well, if no, that is a good idea though, Mary Jo. And I wonder, Barbara, if you'd be curious about that, because we could talk about having each 4 on one page, and essentially, you know, after one section ends, we have a header and there's an anchor attached to that next section header. And what you do is create a link based off of that anchor, and that a link you're then using to add to your leadership page here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be interested in a review of anchor links.
Okay, I'm gonna go back into the demo account, and let's do a little bit of that. Okay. So I'll try and find a page that I might already have started. Maybe the about page will be good to work with. Okay, yeah, we have a few different sections. It's a little wild. There's a lot going on the page, but oh, it looks like we have some already. But let's go ahead and create some more. So typically where we see anchor links, especially in Milo, because that's usually the way that I have gone through creating them, is adding kind of a jump to menu at the start of a page. But an anchor link can be added anywhere. So it doesn't have to be only added to a page to get you somewhere else on that page. You could be at a completely different page and then get to that specific point in a separate page. So the first part, let's actually go. No, I have quite a few anchors already. Let's add a new one. So you can drop an anchor and most anywhere. And sorry, I'm gonna have to save there.
How can you see you have an anchor? Is there like a icon or something that says you have an anchor?
There is a specific icon, and it does look like an anchor. I'll show off the tool first. So it's that icon there. And what it's going to ask you is to name it. Let's just actually drop one here since we don't have one kind of at the beginning. Typically you see anchors at the section heading, but again, you can drop them anywhere. So you place your cursor. It can be at the beginning or the end. Just know that if you start at one line, the screen will cut off anything before it, or you'll be right there at that specific point where you placed your cursor. So open up the anchor tool, and it's the insert edit anchor. Oops, let me try and make this bigger. And the anchor name, you just are simply naming it. Any spaces, replace them with dashes or underscores. But let's call this demo anchor. And what I like to do is copy it. You're gonna need to use it to create the link to it. So I just copy that. And then that tells you that you have an active anchor there. If you click on it, you can tell or see that the icon is kind of activated. Then that means you're able to make edits.
And what did you copy?
I copied the anchor name, what I had typed in.
Oh, okay.
And so now let's go ahead and create the link to it. Let's just go to the bottom and add back to the beginning. Oops. So I'm highlighting the whole thing since I want the whole thing to be a button. And you could use insert edit link, or we could use link to content. All we're gonna do is create a link based on our anchor. So we're gonna start backwards. Since I have that already added or copied to my clipboard, I'm adding in the anchor name. The step before it is a hashtag or the #. That is what makes it an anchor link and means that it is dropping at a specific point in a page rather than just loading the entire page. And then the first part is the actual URL of the page. We have to first know which page we're landing on, and then this tells us which specific point on that page. So we can make our job easy by just copying what we see in the address bar of our page up here. Whoops. So I'm going to copy that without the word edit. Since we don't want to lead folks to the edit side, we want to lead folks to the public side. And sorry, let me open up. Where did my little window go? No.
Oh.
Did I close it on accident? Okay, let's do that again. Sorry about
You
that. I
have
thought
to
I,
add, can you just put the pound sign and the anchor rather
oh,
than?
that's right. You are totally correct, Liz. That is, since we are on the same page, we can just get away with adding just the anchor, just the hashtag and the anchor name. And so let's actually set that up that way since we are on the same page. And I'll show you doing it from a separate page as well. Okay, so we never see the anchors unless we go into the HTML side of a public page. But let's go ahead and test it out. So back to the beginning brings us with that at the very top. I just scrolled up a little bit on accident. But again, it drops you back to that spot where the anchor was dropped. So now let's go to, let's try our issues page. And so this time I have the node ID or the URL for my about page copied. If you don't, you can always just copy the link address, or we can search for it using link to content. But what you need are those two ingredients, the page URL and then the anchor. So from this issues page, I want folks to get not only to my about page, but to that beginning section. So back to the beginning. And let's actually see if we can use this tool. Try and reload that. So if I didn't already have it copied, what I could do too is pull it from my search, either just looking through, and if I were zoomed out completely, I could see the pager where I can page through to see all of the different content. But you can simply click on that and that drops in your node ID. Since I belong to more than one league, it's not pulling my demo site. So, whoops, I probably could have just worked with that one. So instead of using the find content search, I'm just gonna paste in what I have. So now the final step is just adding the hashtag and the anchor name. And we just insert link, and it should be taking us back to our about page with that. Oh, I should probably publish this. Okay, take two. Oh. Okay. And there we go. I love when publishing is the simple solution. But yeah, anchors can be, again, placed anywhere and then taken to there from anywhere. Susan.
So Amaris, so what you put in the link box was the URL, then just pound and the name of the anchor?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
So I can
Or-
also drop this in the chat just so you have that example as well handy. So it's, yeah, the long URL and then no slash needed. You could just add the # and then the anchor name. When I did create it with the node ID or the node URL, I did include the slash. And so that was the difference there. I'm wondering, whoops, I'm gonna test it out without the slash here. So we can see if they all work. Okay, that works as well. I'm gonna, sorry, might as well just try them all. Okay. With the slash after the about. Yep, okay, so there's no need to worry if there's a slash or no slash after the end of your URL. Susan.
I have a whole new topic when you're ready to move on.
Well,
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Because it's still related? Okay.
Sure, Mary Jo.
So unless there's somebody that has a technical question, because you know me, I'm keep it simple. So I think the idea was that, you know, they had leadership as a page and they wanted to just let people know who their 4 people in leadership were.
Mhm.
So if that were what I was going to do, keeping it simple, I would probably have like maybe a Word document for each one of them. And I'd have their name, and then I would just have a link to the Word document. Or I would, with maybe a couple of lines, or I would just have, you know, have 1 page with the 4 of them on there.
So instead of having them across the top, they would have to go vertically with a
I
picture.
guess, yeah, it does look nice with those people there, I agree, but again, keeping it simple, I mean, because you can have their picture too, somehow, I'm not sure how I would do that, but anyway, I'm just saying.
No,
If it's
yeah.
a Word document, I can just take it and put it in there, insert it right there, correct?
Oh, yeah, the
So
Word
this-
document could have the picture in it, right?
This
Right.
page would remain the same. It's as far as the links here, where they're leading to. Right now, they're leading to 4 separate places. And then what we were talking about is just having them lead to 1 page.
Okay,
And in that way, you would have, in whatever order you wanted on that, you know, page they're leading to, Tracy Mackey's bio, then Dr. Mimi's bio, then Linda, then Connie. And then using those anchors, you create a separate link for each to drop, you know, if I click on this one, then I'm dropping about a 1/3 way down the page. I could still scroll up and down and read the rest of those bios.
Oh,
you
yeah.
mean they're all
okay.
on the same page?
That's what we're trying
Oh,
to.
That's what I
um,
didn't understand.
yeah.
Okay.
So if we are looking at my about page here, we're pretending like this is 1 bio. If I had a section header here, this would be a separate bio. Since I have
Okay.
different anchors dropped within this same page, it's like I have created several different links just for 1 page.
That makes more sense.
It does look a lot nicer, I agree, but I always have to make it simple, but okay, thank you.
No, for sure.
I had something like that last night where I was trying to put the panelists for something and I was sent 4 Word documents. So I ended up, I was trying to do all sorts of things, putting them in a table and all this stuff. And then I thought, gee, I can just make 1 PDF file, combine these into 1 PDF file. Then I don't have to upload the individual pictures, because every time you have something like this, each one of them has a picture and it looks like they already had a picture, but you know, this was brand new pictures. And that takes time to add all those pictures. And so if you don't have to do that for a PDF file.
Let me see.
We didn't have, those aren't their pictures. They were actually taken by a member who wants a really nice picture of them. So she goes out and interviews them and shows them. So
They are nice pictures.
Very nice.
So they are nice pictures, but whoever did this, it was the webmaster had to upload each of them individually. which takes time.
That's Ingy and she's the photographer. She's not here today.
Speaking of pictures, going back, we were talking about profiles. Can the administrator add a picture to a profile?
I do
I know, you
believe
know-
so.
I would think so.
Let's test that out.
Okay.
Since you typically do have full access to their
Yeah.
accounts.
Right.
Let's use a demo user here. Whoops. Not wanting to edit their role. There we go. So I click on their username so I can get to their edit profile. And it will be down under user profile. Yeah, so you are able to upload for them.
Would you ask permission first? It'd be really nice if all the members knew who they were, but I feel like I'm taking advantage of it if I don't ask.
You definitely could, and that probably is a good
Yeah.
thing to follow. As far as the technology, there isn't like a requirement or anything because there's no way to verify if it really is the person who they say they are as far as the user. So
Yeah.
just as a courtesy to the user, that's probably best.
Yeah. Thank you.
If there aren't any other questions about this one. Okay, Susan, yeah, go ahead with your question.
I've been using Milo long enough now that my collection of stuff in my library is getting too big and cleanup is in order. And part of cleanup is now I know more about how I should have been naming files. I'd like to know if I can go back through that and rename things and how to do it.
Yes, very, very good question. Let's go to manage files. And if we're talking about just our own files, like you're saying, the ones you've uploaded, then we're already here at the list for our own. Let's see, if you're trying to make changes, you can actually do it in a batch. I'm not sure if title is included, but let's see if I can just choose a few different file types here. So I have a PDF, a JPEG, a YouTube video, and then another PDF. So under operations, I'm going to select change value. This just means I want to make some changes to, you know, whatever values is in like probably the title, the permissions that you've given it and all that. Okay, no, unfortunately the title is not there. So title would have to be done individually and we can show that next. But if you were trying to change the alt text, the title text is the tooltip that comes up. So it isn't the actual file name in Milo. But all these different things you can make changes to in a batch.
But these files are all in use.
Yes. Well, they are all uploaded to your media library.
Cancel it.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, I wanted to see how you did them in a batch when they were all so different.
Oh, yeah. It does separate it since it recognizes the difference in file types. So I'm just going to choose those three since those are still JPEG, YouTube video, and a PDF. So I'm going to go back to change value and execute. So this one, you know, we are always requiring as far as do you have the permission to actually use it on your website, but show in media library is a good one to make a quick change to if you've uploaded a batch of things and you want to make it public now, or as far as other webmasters can use. So I'll just add those two. Okay, and then no. And I'll go next. And I didn't really pay attention to the differences I made. Um,
But you can't turn a
But I
JPEG
did.
into a
You can't
PDF.
convert, no.
Yeah.
No, but so that is as far as making changes to really the settings of the file. But if you're trying to make changes to the actual file, like trying to replace it with something else, or you're trying to
No,
change the
no.
title,
The title, because I
Right.
want to make them more searchable.
right?
Right now, I didn't do a good job.
And so under editing it directly, those types of things you would be able to change.
Okay.
But Maurice, but this would be really useful if we haven't, well, I have not been really good about adding a lot of media tags and things like that.
Mhm.
Being relatively new, so I could now go back into those files, select them as a batch, and select, media tags.
Yeah.
Oh, this would be really useful. I
Yeah.
was dreading having to do that.
Yeah, and then also like the file description, if you haven't added those yet, or you, like you said, want to fine tune some stuff, that as well can be added through that.
Maurice,
Mhm.
Maurice, you
Yes.
just selected one of each type of file. But
Mhm.
if you had selected two of each type of file, it would have done it to both of those types of files, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
And we can play around with that some more. But so Susan, if you wanted to make a change, you just go in and directly make your change.
Okay, so I'm not making a name. I can just have separate words without linking them with underlines or dashes or anything like that. Do I need to put the JPEG on there?
You do not.
And it will still keep this where I put it in our website?
Correct. Yeah. So it won't affect like if there's a URL to it that you're sharing with folks, or if you place it anywhere, it's not going to affect that at all.
And if somebody else, let's say, has downloaded something from our site and it has this image in it,
Mhm.
will they have a broken link now?
No. If they've downloaded the image, then they have it on their local device.
Okay, okay. All right, and I can put like the date. One of the things I want to do is put in the year that we put it in here, and then we can go back and remove stuff that's obviously stale.
Yeah, you have that full control. You also have the file description section, which is only visible to us webmasters. So both of those sections you have as a way to describe the file.
Yeah, and I try to make that description pretty comprehensive, but when I'm searching for something, then it matters. Now, while we're in here, this alt text and title, what's the difference between those two?
Yeah, so the alt text, it comes up for mainly two reasons. We'll often see it if the image didn't load properly, then we'll see the alt text instead. But a lot of times the folks that are using screen readers are going to be experiencing the images through the alt text. So that's why we try our best to describe the subject matter of the image, just so that folks with low or no vision are able to still get a sense of what is on the page.
Okay, that's like the voice speaking the action that's going on the TV screen. Gotcha. Okay. Well,
And then the other one, title text, that comes up if you hover over the item. So let's see if I can save that and we test that out. I'm not sure if it'll work here, and it does. So you hover over it and we can see the little tooltip comes up with what I added as the title text.
Okay, and the alt text then is only visible to people who have the special screen reader.
Yes, or if the image doesn't load for somebody, then they're going to see the alt text.
Okay, great, wonderful. Thanks for the help.
For sure. Mary Jo.
So I think I know the answer, but I can't just go to the media library and say, oh, that's an old one, you know, and do something from there. I have to go through edit files.
Oh, yes, if you're trying to make changes to a file, you do have
Probably
to go
delete,
to
probably
manage
delete.
files.
It would probably be deleting, because a lot of my ones
Yeah.
are pictures of like webinars. Well, you know, I don't need those anymore. So,
Yeah, you would have to
you have to go
come
through-
here.
okay. And then secondly,
You can do
when-
it through an operation, Mary Jo, can't you, Emery's? You
Right.
select the files you want to delete, and then for operation, you choose delete.
Right, she would have to come to this
Yeah.
page rather than if you're editing a page already, then you get that option to go open the media library. You can't make
Right.
changes from there.
yeah, I mean, you just the check, delete. Okay, yeah.
Right. Mhm.
So when a person is in the media library and we're applying a word, maybe you've already said this, but what field is that actually searching for? Is the description that I've put in?
There are different fields. I think there is one for the file description.
But I want to know what it's searching when I say, you know, apply. Okay, you're going to show me how.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna open it up. I can't remember exactly which ones it offers. Okay, so this one is the file name. So if I, well, you have it
Oh.
right there, but if I look up voter box graphic,
But that file name didn't come from me. It came from the actual picture itself, or did it come from me? Because I would
It-
say description would come from me, but I don't
So-
know.
it depends on how you are uploading the images. If you're just if you're uploading an image and not making a change to the file name and taking what the computer spit out,
Yeah,
then I guess that's, you know, just inherited. You didn't make
Okay.
that change. But like I did now with this one, I changed it myself to voter box graphic. And so now the file name comes up as that. So it depends on if you've made the change or not, but it will
Well, what-
come up as the file name.
well, what is description? Isn't that what I've put in, description?
That is the file description. So
And that's not searched, if that's not searched, that obviously the box is there.
you can separately search this. Let's see, if I just put vote, we're probably gonna have quite
Yeah.
a few,
Yeah,
but that will bring up results as well.
Right,
If you
okay.
have a value in both and they don't bring up a common match, then maybe that might be the issue if you're not getting any results. But
and did we decide that that people should go through and, you know, try and get rid of some of the stuff to make it more efficient for the website to run? I know we talked about that a while ago.
yeah, we did. It's definitely not a need to do, since it's not a recommendation that our development team has made. They haven't, you know, found any big issue, but we were talking about just for making it easier to use for the webmaster. Since there
okay.
is a lot of content to go through in that library, if you have content that you know is just very out of date, and so a lot of times we have graphics that are very specific to a date. So
Yeah, right.
that was just a recommendation I think we had amongst ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
But this would be a really good, the managed files that you were showing us would be a really good way to remove old files. If they're named correctly, you could just, well, would that work, Maurice? Just go back to managed files and then you could select the old ones and remove them. Would that remove them from the, what we've uploaded to the all files?
Yes, let's see if maybe I'll copy this name. I'm going to completely delete this item here. Or actually, am I using this somewhere? That's probably a good thing too. Let's go over checking
I wouldn't
where
do
it's
the
being
bylaws.
used. Let's check where it's being used first. So under the, you know, specific date and time details, you'll have a link here, even if it says 0. It's just telling you where it's not being used or has been used. It looks like it was previously somewhere. And what you can do too, if you're unsure of where exactly it is, this is the node ID. And I'm just gonna take over this page that we had open. We just added on to my.lwv.org/node/ and then just the number. Well, that can't be it. So it looks like that content is probably deleted since it is not loading and not showing us the proper page anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to simply go through delete. Did I copy the file name? Let's just do that just to be sure. I want to copy it just so I can try and search for it after. And I'm sorry, remind me of your original question.
Oh,
Mary Jo?
I think that when I started as a webmaster, whenever I had a picture or something, I was loading it up to all files because I wanted to share it with everybody. But then I realized that if it's an image of somebody holding a poster that says vote in the 2020 election, that's really bad because now that photograph is clogging up other people's files. And so is there a way for us to go in easily and review the things that we've uploaded and remove things that are no longer relevant, just to kind of help the efficiency of the entire file and other webmasters?
Okay, yeah, I think what I was going to be showing was probably not really getting at that then. Yes, I think going through this list of the links to the usage is going to be the most helpful in deciding. The only thing you'd want to be aware of if you were ready to delete something and for some reason another league is actually using that content, then you're going to want to either hold off or you could reach out to them, whatever. It's just because it's letting you know where these were used. So it may be that they used it at some point and then it's been removed from that page and it's no longer there. So if you have a link, it's worth clicking on to actually check it out. And I think were we looking at the vote page or the vote image? Yes, voter box graphic. So that one is actually still being used there. That one as well. And so that's just the quick way to check it out. I think I had it on the home page quite a few times. So there we go. It's again, it's being used for the event here. But if we're only looking at the home page, which is everything above the first promoted item, we don't actually see the voter box graphic.
Okay.
But I did use it many times previously in other revisions. So that's the reason it's showing up under usage. So if you notice under moderate tab, we have those different revisions. So every time you save, even from published to published, from draft to draft, well, from draft to published, we're getting those different revisions being saved. So that is the reason why we're seeing the usage so high, or even just that it's showing up and technically we're not seeing the image on that live page.
Okay. Thanks.
Mary Jo.
Yeah, I thought someone asked if they deleted something from the general library, but somebody else had used it. I thought you said that it wouldn't matter because, you know, they had already downloaded it or whatever. What, did I misunderstand?
So if they're downloading it, that means they're taking it out of Milo and downloading to their device. That's different than if they are a webmaster and they chose your image to put on their Milo site. They aren't downloading, they're just
you
using
mean
it.
if I saved it like into my own thing under pictures or whatever, that's what you mean down.
Right.
But most people wouldn't do that though.
No. And so if they're just viewing it on another person's Milo site,
Yeah.
then that's just,
No, I meant in the media library. They saw it in
If
the
it-
media library.
if it gets deleted, then it's deleted for everybody.
That's, okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay. Susan.
But if somebody, your average reader downloads something from my website, you're saying that the image comes along with the link. So the link that they get when they download it doesn't have to go out into the internet and search for my image. The image really comes with the download.
I'm not sure. So if they have the URL, they're not downloading it, they're just visiting the URL. If they are trying to keep the content, like they're trying to download it to save it for later, then again, it would just depend on the format that they're downloading it in. Usually if they're just downloading the web page, they're accessing that file. Technically, it's offline that they're accessing it. They don't actually have that HTML page stored in their device.
Mhm.
Most people don't download these images.
No.
They're usually just going to see if somebody has a good image and then they can use it.
Right.
Oh,
And
it's
the-
not the image, but if, let's say we have an announcement of a meeting and somebody saves that announcement onto their computer for future reference because it has a link to join the meeting or whatever, but it also has a link to a picture that's stored in my library. When they download this thing to their computer, do they just have the link to the picture or do they actually have the picture?
It would
Most
still be a
people-
link.
But
Okay,
don't most people export a page? Why would you download a page? I mean,
Yeah, it's not a common
Well,
practice.
it's not a common activity, and I was just curious to know what comes when you try to pull something off somebody else's site. Learning by doing, learning by doing.
Well, I mean, theoretically, if you found something in the media library that you really liked, and you thought, well, hey, I want to use that in our voter. I mean, that would be a reason to download it.
Yeah,
I've never done that, but
but you don't have a link
Possibility.
to it. You don't have a link to it. You just have
No.
the image.
yeah, so I download it onto my computer.
but I'm
Right.
thinking of people, other people, not webmasters, but other people who are looking at our newsletter, and it's just so wonderful. They want to have a copy on their computer. And what are they getting when they put that copy on their computer? But we have
Well-
other things to talk about.
Yeah. It depends. If it's a PDF, then they can easily download your PDF. That's much
Yeah.
more common and outside of Milo when that's done. Okay. Did anybody have any other questions?
Well, I have a few, disparate questions. So,
for it.
I unfortunately missed last week, completely forgot about it. And so I wanted to, watch it again. So I don't remember, do you record and then put the whole thing up after you've edited a little bit for silly questions? So, because I'm still looking, is it makes sense that I'm still kind of looking and will look to see the one from last week?
Yes, sorry. No, this one has been a bit of a delay.
I
but-
know, I just wanted to make sure, because when I looked at some older ones, I could see they're a pattern. Okay, just want to make
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you answered that. And then what the other thing I wanted to ask, I've asked you about this before, but so on the main page, before you start having articles, I wanted to just sort of I don't know, I'll use frame as the word, the information about the league. But, it's, if my first article is an event, then it's got a box around it too. And I just wondered if there's a simple way to differentiate what I'm talking.
I do remember
Yeah.
us talking about this some.
Yeah, that was a simple way to do something. And I just, I don't know.
I'm gonna
Maybe it's not a big deal.
pull some fake wording here just so that we have a little something to work with. Okay, so let's get rid of this YouTube video. So working with this section, I am just going to paste that in. And I think the solution that we had, well, one of them we had talked about was adding a table. You can make any size table, but because we were just trying to like outline the paragraph or paragraphs, we just made it one column and one row. By default, I think the color is like a light gray, but if we work with the HTML, we can change the color of our box,
Oh,
your table. So
that might be a little easier.
I'm cutting the text just so that I can paste it directly into the box. So now that it's going to be outlined by that, coming back, I have my cursor just placed inside this cell, inside this table anywhere. You'll notice that now that we have the table, some of these icons have lit up. Before they were gray. Whoops. Yeah, so when I have my mouse outside of the table, all of these options are grayed out for me. Zoom in just a tad more. Okay. And so I just need to add that table one more time. And so same thing, just cutting to paste into here. Okay, so coming back, I have the table cell properties. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And actually, you could do this from any one of these, the table cell properties or even the insert edit table. The number one thing is that we're going to the advanced tab, and I do believe that they're the same for both of these. You might have a few more options in the other, but we're just focused on the colors.
Yeah.
So you can change the border color, you can change the background color. There's a color picker next to each one, so that's helpful. Let's change the border color. And I think last time we went to the National League's branding standards and we took the color from there to try and match the gold. So that's an option too, since you can add the hex number. But you have a palette as well to choose from, and then named colors. I'm going to apply that purple. And then maybe for a background color, I just want a light gray. Oh my goodness, stay there. Let's try and make it a little noticeable. Okay. And apply. And we're going to update. It shows us right away since we're on the WYSIWYG side. But what you'll need to do to be able to see it once you save is swap it to full HTML. And when it comes to those color changes, I will say be careful because you have the full range of color change, but make sure that readability is still, you know, at the top as a priority.
Why did you put it to full HTML?
To be able to recognize the color changes we made.
Okay.
If you leave it set to WYSIWYG, then we would just see the table come up as it normally does, like with the standard formatting.
That's permanent even once it's published? So it always has to be in HTML for the user to see the gray?
Correct. You can go, when you're making changes, you can go in and swap it to WYSIWYG. So let's say I'm going back in and I'm not happy with the changes I just made. I do go to WYSIWYG and I can make those changes. Oh, I'm not sure why it's not coming up.
Can you change the weight of the box? Of the lines of the around the, can you change that weight?
That
Because
might be
the
done in
table
the
doesn't-
table cell. No, unfortunately not. That you can do directly probably through the HTML, but not through any of the WYSIWYG tools
Okay.
here.
Thank
What
you.
does that mean? That must be a technical term. What does that mean?
The weight of the line, the border line around. So right now I think it's just set to 1 pixel. And so you can make it fatter and fatter just so that the line around it is
Okay,
thicker.
thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
because you can't really, we couldn't really see the purple. Because
Oh,
it's such
okay.
a thin line.
So Jennifer, it would take a little bit of kind of just digging or Googling to see what HTML you would need, but you can use this style field. It might be something with border width, but it could be something as easy to add in the styles box.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That is pretty subtle, that to get the change, to actually see it, you have to change it to HTML.
Now, Maurice, could you do a table that has like 3 columns? So
Yeah.
just so we, I mean, is it any different or how does?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's add some columns just with the tools that we have here. I'm going to add maybe a row as well. Okay. Let's separate our cheese talk. Whoops. I have to actually cut and paste here. And then our text, if you wanted it to be, because right now it's just the regular size as the other text, you could also hit paragraph, and this is more of like the table text. The table text is typically smaller than our regular, but let's apply. So again, like I said, we could apply our changes to the entire table by clicking Insert Edit Table. And if we made changes here, then we would have the background color for every single cell. Let's do maybe just the border color since we might want that to be uniform. Let's do a bright red. And okay, no, that's good. I was noticing earlier, it seemed like wherever I moved my mouse, it was trying to pick up the color. But I think once you click and select, then it stops moving around with you. So apply that, and the background color, I want to try and do individually. Let me make sure, did that stick? Okay. So let's do the bottom middle, or actually let's do the bottom row advanced with a background color. We'll choose a lighter shade of yellow. And we update for that row, and then let's just do the middle, or I think we have to have some text in each row now that I'm thinking about, so that it'll show up completely. Okay, let's just, whoops, add some color to this row, or cell, sorry. So this time table cell properties. And we'll choose a bright blue there. So we should have a red border with a bottom yellow row and the top blue.
So you actually select, so you are, just do it like you would any other table. So you select the size of your table, how many rows, and then you put text in each of those areas or whatever it is you want to put.
Yes, and I saved it as WYSIWYG, so that's why we see a regular table. Let's go back and I'll resave it as full HTML. So those properties should still be there. Okay, I do see them there. I think for some reason the WYSIWYG wasn't showing me.
Maurice, can you change, is that an opportunity to change the border width right there in the code? See, it says border
Oh,
width.
yeah, look at that.
It's 0.
So that is for the entire table. In case, yeah, it looks like it only shows up for that one. So perfect. There shouldn't be any other border width option to choose from. This will be set for your entire table. So let's try a 5 pixel width, or let's just go bigger so it's quite obvious. So I have it set to full HTML. And we're just going to save as a draft again. There we go. Very obnoxious colors, but yeah.
You don't have inside lines. Was there a way to put them on the inner lines?
I think that is through the HTML, but it would take a little bit more work than how we did this one. When it comes to the rows, I think that's probably what we're trying to add that to. So yeah, it's a little bit, I don't know how often this would be used, but the TD stands for the row, or I'm sorry, TR is the row and TD are the different cells. And so I think we want to add it to the second row so that it's bordering around. I think adding it to the top row or the bottom row would work either way. So I've just copied.
Yeah, there's a border, the third line down. That's 0. Is that, or is it,
Let's try possibly removing that. Let's try that first. Not sure exactly what HTML tag that is. No. But yeah, let's try adding to the row. I'm not sure.
Well, I'll withdraw my question for my own benefit. I don't know if anybody else wants it, but I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how often this one's going to be pulled out of your back pocket, but if it works, no, that wasn't it there either. So I'm not sure. There has to be an HTML tag for it, but yeah, go ahead. I've heard somebody.
I'm wondering also, how would this look on somebody's cell phone if you're putting in tables? Constant Contact rearranges everything for cell phone use, mobile use. Does Milo?
When it comes to saving it in WYSIWYG, it does automatically, but you're bringing up a good point since it is going to be on different screens, or it's going to be set to full HTML, it doesn't do it automatically. So what we can do, I think that it is just width, might be table width, but we can explicitly say that we want 100% width or 50 or whatever percentage, and then that way we're not stating a static number there. So let's see if that
So it takes some fancy tap dancing to make it work on all types of screens.
It does take changing the width. If you're trying to have a table like this with fancy colors, then you will want to add the width or specify the width for the table. Let's see if that actually does the trick. So I'm going to check it out on different devices. This is what it might look like on an iPhone X. So yeah, the setting of the width there would be the most important if you're using your table in this way, setting it to full HTML.
Okay.
But if you are setting it to WYSIWYG, then you don't have to worry about any of that.
But if
Um,
you set it to WYSIWYG, then your fancies don't turn up.
right.
Now, is that an issue with the phone? Is that an issue if you use it the way you first did it? You just use it as a single cell table. Does that eliminate that issue?
Usually, because that other example, we were only working with one cell and it had text. Usually the text is going to break off depending on the size of the screen. If it were one continuous word, then we'd have some problems because then it, it
Right.
would run off the screen for a mobile user. But as far as this kind of option, that should work great. If let's say you were using the one cell option to add an image, I think Milo's media library does some work in trying to make it responsive, but that might take some testing just because an image might be a little bit more static as far as its overall size.
And then if you have, because now that I know how you could add some color or some, lines or stuff like that. So if I have an existing page where I might want to apply this to my existing text, can you do that? Or do you have to start with a new, I should just insert a table and then
You can start
copy and
with an
paste?
existing one, as long as you're able to copy and paste.
Okay, all right.
If you have the text already there, we're just dropping in the table either above or below it and then copying into your respective cells.
Okay, all right, okay.
There was one other thing that you reminded me of, but I think it just slipped my mind. Oh, I wanted to see if we could possibly set the width from the insert edit table because there is a width field here. So let's try 100%. And we update. Seems like it took. We're going to set it back to full HTML. Let's take a look. And it did. Oh, did I save my changes? Oh, well, I think we're just going to see the width there. And let's test. How did I do that? Going to inspect. And we're still looking at it as an iPhone X user. Okay, so that was much easier than trying to search through the HTML. Just use the insert edit table icon and then set the width that way. Are there any other questions about the table?
So has anyone ever used this? Does anyone have this on their site right now?
I
Or
use
no?
tables when I feel like I can get more control of where the text is and the images.
Well, Amaris put it on ours. If that, I think, right, Amaris? I mean, is that what she's asking?
Yeah, do you have any examples of
Yeah.
where you're using the page? And I think, Liz, you have also used it for your videos as well.
Yeah, for my videos.
But I mean, I'd asked
So this,
separate, yeah. Oh, it's interesting. It's a little, why is it a little lighter?
it's probably because it's a little skinnier. It's not as thick as the border below it with
But
this one.
I mean, I don't see it that light when I look at it myself, unless I just not noticing it. Because it is a little lighter, yeah. Let's see, I have to take down something.
Okay, so you did that. You did this using like the table function. You've got your, like when I do that on my front page, well, I always have events. So I'm using the highlighting, but
Mhm.
in this case, you got that square around there by using that table.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can use that table option on any page, article, event, whatever. You have that option in your WYSIWYG.
Maurice, if everybody's finished on tables, I had a quick question or a request for the landing page or the home page.
Mhm.
When we have an option, we can have the settings wheel that comes up on the upper right-hand corner.
Mhm.
And it has the option to highlight that particular item. But could we also have the option to demote it from the front page?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
and you're talking about with your own content, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What was your question?
So when we open up this context menu with the little cog, we get additional options that are related to this specific content item. If we could also have promote and demote this item from front page.
Well, I
Uh,
didn't even
yes,
see it to promote.
Please.
Right. Here it would say demote, but anywhere else, if let's say we were on our calendar or action alerts or articles, we would see promote.
Yeah,
I
that would
did-
be really, really handy. Not that it takes that much time to get into the item but get into the item, open the draft, promote it. So the little wheel thing would
Remember
be,
to publish.
yeah, remember to publish. So the little wheel thing would be really handy.
Yeah, I could definitely check in about that.
I endorse that also because I have to sit and wait for a while for each time I want to go to the edit mode. And
have to wait.
watching you flick around here makes me jealous.
No, don't don't feel bad. I definitely have that as well. I think it's just a mighty beast that we have, and so there's some load time every now and then.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that is a good request. I took a note of that.
Thank you.
Did anybody have one last question? I think we're almost wrapping up. No. All right, folks, as always, thank you